Okay.
teaching me to be the
All right.
rogue and everything.
Right, right. Okay, so I guess
Because I have to have some leads.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. All right. So he would definitely, like I said, he would have filmed you in on what he could. Uh, like I said, from what he found out about it. Uh, so yeah, that being said, like I said, that would have led you
South farther
south.
to, yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, you guys.
So we, I mean, Hammer would be smart about it in the fact that he'd buy supplies knowing that he doesn't know where he's going, but he doesn't have a town anymore. So, is there any way that he could purchase a hand cart that Bob could uh, push around, or
Is that all we
let's
have? Is just like a hand cart? We don't have anything else. We're just carrying our own stuff, right?
we're carrying our own
Yeah.
stuff,
That's what I thought.
but I want to like something that we can carry heavier stuff
Yeah.
with us. Or if we have
Okay.
to start carrying like someone who's injured, I don't want to have to carry them on my back because their feet will drag on the ground. So
let's see. Well, you could buy a cart. Yeah, you could have bought that kind of like at any time within your 2 week
okay,
kind of
so
span. Like you said, like any equipment or anything you guys got during your level up and
okay.
everything like that, I'm assuming was grabbed in the lapse or the time traveled.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, well, could we afford a goat and a cart, or just like a cart and a
Wait,
cart?
would sorry to interrupt, but would Link's or some of Link's goats that she would be herding, were they outside of
yeah,
that circle? So that way we don't
the
have to maybe, and we have Lemon. I'm assuming she's still with
yeah,
me, that she can keep the goat in line or a couple of goats. That way we don't have to spend money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I
Okay.
agree. Let's go with that. Like
yeah.
we'll find a goat cart.
Why are you not broadcasting right now?
Because I don't wanna. Just kidding.
Thing is now not wanting to broadcast while I'm doing this, but that's okay. Anyway,
Just host Rugov.
yeah, you would have been able to grab goats from being as like they technically don't have an owner. With none of that stuff did because everyone died. You could
Right.
have just taken the goat, no problem.
Could we string a bunch of the goats along and sell them? Except for 2.
How many goats would she have had?
I mean, that would have been be a little bit of an endeavor to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you could attempt to do it.
Let's say we'd grab 2 each, because you can. I mean, we could possibly sell 2 and take 2 with us and leave the others to fend for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, doing so would work.
Okay. So we've got 2 goats. I'm assuming that we used the 2 goats to purchase a cart large enough for the other 2 goats to be able to carry our items and stuff, so that we're not we're not over encumbered yet. But if we need to, heaven forbid, use it as an ambulance to get to help, we can do that. So because
right,
we just saw some heavy shit 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Kind of speaking of which, you would more than likely have some, being as you didn't really see most of the destruction that took place, you saw mainly the aftermath.
Mhm.
It doesn't quite hit you the same way, but you would still definitely have.
We lost our
I was-
homes. That's got to have
Yeah,
a mental impact.
it
So,
definitely does. Like I'm sure you've probably had dreams and stuff like that about some of the town folk that you've known for years now.
hmm.
Uh, Everything, like yeah, that was an entire community.
Right,
Uh,
just gone.
yeah, burned away by these guys. So, being said, Halfbeard and Rockfist are kind of in the same, someone in the same boat as Hammer when it comes to the emotion of it. I don't know. It wouldn't, well, not necessarily in the same boat. They would be a little more stern about it, more gruff about it. They're used to losing groups of people because they've traveled from a handful of communities before
Mm-hmm.
reaching this one. Bob is definitely beset because he was born there,
In Cheeseville.
spent his whole life there. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, with that being said, they're definitely keen on trying to figure out everything they can. All of them are. They're all kind of on the same page with that. Of like, if they want, well, maybe not the exact same page. They just want revenge.
Right.
That's where they're at. All three of them, Halfbeard, Rockfist, and Bob are all just on the revenge.
The best
Excellent.
way the best way to get revenge is we've got to follow this to the next area that they would have hit. So let's go that way. He's making Hammer's making guesses, and
Halfbeard's just like, well, I don't think they were planning on going anywhere after that. I mean, they killed themselves.
But there
Right,
had to
but
have
who
been,
knows if there's others
yeah.
that might sacrifice themselves.
Well, no, I guess that makes sense. And it always sounds, when he's speaking, it always sounds like he's chewing on something because he's got a horribly scarred half face.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Be a nice change of pace than just going down the road with a smelly ass goat.
Yeah, well, if you want to push the cart for a while, we can let the goats take a bath.
Always with the jokes.
Hmm.
Even when you're like mentioning something serious to him, most of the time he'll say that to you. He's just like, "You're the funny one."
That's right. That's me.
Out of
All
out of the minors. Yeah. Ironic that our drunken stupor that we usually got bitched at about actually saved our lives this time, huh?
Yeah. I could have saved a lot of trouble by getting more drunk. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Little part of me as a player, kind of wishes I did prestidigitation now.
Oh,
Clean things up.
yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, man, I love prestidigitation for so many things.
Oh my
Right.
gosh,
Such a
yeah.
useless one. Don't get me wrong,
was-
though. Identify is wonderfully handy. That's how you're able to discover that what you guys were carrying were, in fact, not normal magical objects, but in fact, actual artifacts.
right.
Okay.
Uh,
So
Yay.
was
Anyway,
Hammer, while we're on the road, goes looking. If he sees like a doe or some sort of stag, he pulls out the ruby wand and tries to figure out if he can use it. So, and does he run into anything like that? What? He's gonna go hunting.
Your guys' volume went way down. Or, well, you got really quiet. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Is that any better?
It went so quiet. Weird. Okay. Wow.
No change for me.
Okay. Does that sound any better on my end, or?
Can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just the volume got really, really low again. I can hear you all right, though.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Volume back up. I might have to grab my headset real quick.
Probably be a good idea.
Because I can hear you guys, but it's really, really low now for some reason, and it's not telling me why. So I'm just gonna grab my headset.
Okay.
We're in BRB.
Okay. Sounds like fun.
So we have 2 goats.
2 goats. Do we want to name them? Tooth Gnasher and
Link and Marcus.
Lincoln Marcus.
I don't know.
Okay.
First 2 names to pop in my head.
Lincoln Marcus it is. Was that a wisdom roll that you did for the one last week, or was it something different?
I don't remember. While he's doing that, I'm gonna run and grab some water.
Sounds like fun.
And I can still hear, so if he comes back.
Okay. Dropping everything, aren't I? Okay. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Welcome back. She went to grab some water.
All right, I returned.
I promise I'm here, I'm just getting water.
Oh, you're all good. Okay. Yeah, in the dryer. It's got a bunch of berries got clothes. They should be by now. Alright. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Can you hear us, or can you hear me?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
It happened to me last time while we were in the middle of playing. The volume
Yeah.
just kind of rapidly dropped. I have it at max volume on this thing, but it was just like, nah, you don't need to hear these guys. But yeah, awesome. So,
All right.
I think everything is now ready to go again.
She just went to grab something to drink, so.
I can still hear. I have got my headset on.
Let's see.
And I'm back. Anyway,
Welcome back.
But yeah, I still had my headset on. I could still hear if anything were to continue.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Had something pop up on me real quick. Never good. Okay.
Do we
So-
run into any hapless woodland creatures that don't immediately run away from the ruckus that we're kicking up?
I mean, you'd see your generic, like, small woodland animals and things like that, but you wouldn't see anything.
Okay.
I'd say out of the norm. Normally, near the roads and stuff, there really isn't a whole lot of. Excuse me. There really isn't a whole lot of monsters or animals that stray too close. Okay. So yeah.
So Hammer has his war pick and a hand axe at the ready. He doesn't. He has the pick up, and he's using that as a. It's tall enough that he's using it as a walking stick. But he's got the hand axe in a holster. So as he's walking along, I don't know if he's going to be the. I'll have him leading the cart, I guess, unless we wanted to leave that to Bob or Halfbeard. Let's leave it to Halfbeard because he's getting snarky.
All right, so you have him taking up the rear of the cart? Is what you're saying?
No, leading
the cart.
goats.
Leading the cart. Okay, leading the goat. All right, so he would. He'd be complaining a little bit about it, but he probably that would be something he spent some of his money on. He spent he's like, "Where's my life savings?" This is what he'd say multiple times as he was buying things over a couple of weeks. Give me my life savings for this. Haven't traveled like this in a long time.
Well, we've got to find a new mine for you. And you want to
hell with
revenge.
mines. The only thing I'm interested in mining is the brains out of the skulls of the bastards who burned down my town.
Okay, we'll get to that as well. I promise.
We will. I promised as well.
The
Cheesewell was convenient. Damn it! It was right there. Wander in, hand them rocks and ore, get booze. It's real simple. They interrupted that. No, I'm pissed.
Me too. And
Rockfist is just like, yeah. Well, and they burned up all the little kiddos. Halfbeard is just like, oh yeah. At that, they murdered everyone.
So Hammer is trying to be a little bit inventive. He's carrying things like he can, and he's got the ruby wand. Like he's got some tethers that he's trying to tie it to his arm, and he's basically so that he's got his left hand is basically holding the war pick and using it as a walking stick, so that he doesn't necessarily always have to be holding that wand. He's got it at hand and ready to go, but it's pretty much strapped to his arm like a magician would something up the sleeve. Yep. Pretty much. What would I need to roll to do that? Or does that sound like it would just be something that would be normal to do?
At worst, if you were trying to say conceal, I'd say it would just be like a sleight of hand when it comes to those kind of things. But having it just up your sleeve,
yeah,
for the most part, I mean, you don't really have to check for that. You just kind of have it tucked up there, in such a way. So, Yeah, you'd be able to have.
And- Sorry, I'm
Oh,
just
go ahead.
stretching. I'm just stretching.
Oh, okay. I was like, you have a question?
Yeah,
Questions?
me. No, just kidding.
Okay. So you would see a lot of landscape, very similar to what we're kind of looking at right now, where it's like crossroads and bridge crossings, kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
For the first little bit. So if you start following that, basically start following that lead, or not lead, but the rune itself, almost like a compass. Hey, play in the other room, please. You silly bear.
So I'm assuming that we're just starting, or actually are we just? Well, what I mean by just starting is starting to head toward the rune, or.
Would anybody in our party know anything about triangulation?
Basically,
I would, I think.
Okay.
Literally, the only one here would be Leandrin, because of the negation.
Okay. Well, and here's the thing about that is Hammer wouldn't even know what to think of triangulation was. So.
Well, would Leandrin recognize anything from her travels, or?
You mean when it comes to this rune?
Well,
or
where the rune is taking us.
Okay, so the direction you guys are starting to head is towards this place is just called the Eastern Reaches. There is the Kingdom of East March, which is also in this direction, because you are on the Midland. There are 5 major human kingdoms. They're all kind of interconnected and right next to each other. Mm-hmm. So you'd be transitioning from Midland to East Marsh within this travel. The kingdoms are generally fine with each other, so there's not really a problem there. The terrain you're looking at is, it gets a little more marshy in this direction. It gets a little bit more, marshy and forested, so it's kind of bogs, swamps, and almost bayous, as it were, as it leads into some riverlands.
Okay.
So that's what you'd know geographically. Beyond that, there's some mountain ranges and everything where it's rumored that more people and things live, but that news changes on and off throughout the years. Nobody really knows for the most part what's beyond there. They're assuming it is they're assuming it's just either filled with monsters or the ocean is there, basically.
Okay.
Nobody's 100% sure, though.
Okay. We don't know if it's dangerous or any monsters that way.
Well, generally anywhere that is uncharted is generally considered dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in that direction, it's also a marsh, so you have rodents and lizard usual size. Bandits like to hide out near the borders and things like that, because it's easy to kind of get lost, as it were, in some of those areas. And you're not even sure how far east this is taking you. You just barely made this decision and started heading this direction.
Right.
It could be a couple of days. It could be a couple of hours. You're not sure. But yeah, so you'd start heading that way. There are a couple of trade roads kind of set up like on the map that you're seeing now, very similarly, little bridges, things like that start crossing.
Mhm.
And I just rolled for really like anything like that when it comes to encounters and what have you. You will just see your standard fare of just your regular animals in the distance, so like birds, squirrels, your regular small stuff. As for the road itself, you'd have like a couple of basically like just regular travelers like cart vendors heading the other direction, just doing their normal thing.
Okay. Hammer would put he would try to, anytime that he came upon anyone, he'd pretty much try to perceive if they were meant any harm, because like I said, he was just waking up and going for breakfast, and this huge thing happened. So that would be a 10. Does he perceive anybody that has any ill intent?
No, these guys, the couple of travelers that you see, and I'm going to say this is taking place in the next couple of days. As you choose your new direction, the people that pass, that's like a courier, and then like I said, just traveling to sell their wares. There's nothing nefarious or anything. They're just doing their thing, as it were. But yeah, no ill intent or anything. I mean, you get the an interesting, traveling group, maybe as like a side mention, because of a bunch of dwarves and an elf
with a herding dog,
with a goat-drawn cart, yeah, and a dog. So it's kind of an interesting looking group from normal people. I mean, you don't stand out ridiculously or anything. It's just kind of odd to see. Because most of the travelers that you do see are, again, human. You're mainly in the human areas.
Right.
And when you do see other races, they're just not as in big of clusters. So your group's kind of an odd one for the area, being as there's only one human traveling with you.
Yeah.
He seems to be almost like the lackey of the situation, because he is the dumbest out of all of you.
Are you saying humans are dumb? Just kidding.
No, just our human.
Bob is.
I know. I'm kidding.
Most humans have the average medieval intelligence, so I mean, kind of.
We have to tell Bob regularly not to bite the rocks.
Okay. Does...
Oh yeah, he thinks licking the rocks and everything. It's like, oh, I can do it just like dwarves, Oh, this one might have copper in it, like, no, he just is licking and biting rocks. Oh, he's convinced he can't.
Right. Does Lemon seem to be
so
okay?
You would see him do it periodically. Hey guys.
Oh. I think I'm on delay.
No, we heard you.
For the most part,
Lemon
she'd start to warm to the whole group. Yeah, she would start to warm to the whole group during the 2 weeks of travel. The elf than anybody else, because you were most of the main trauma. But
is he cutting in
nobody
now
in the
for
group
you
has
too?
a problem with
a
the
little
dog,
bit,
with
not very much.
Dogs in general. So Am I a little choppy?
A little bit.
I only heard about half of
But
that.
yeah, no, the dog is actually.
The dog is warming up to everyone. Go ahead. So, and
Especially me.
Yeah, so
Hammer would have bought like
yeah, she's more warm to you, but
Hammer would have bought the butcher cuts that are not suitable for most people that you generally feed to dogs, and he put that unbeknownst to Leandrin in her pack.
In Leandrin's pack?
Yes.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Sleight of hand. Let's see how well he did it. 8. Perception for Leandrin, or is she looking for skullduggery like this? Passive. I mean, passive would be perception. She would have picked it up anyway because she has a 10, right?
Well, according to this, I have a passive
Yes.
perception of 16.
Oh, yeah. So
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah, that's right. I forgot your heightened elven senses and stuff. At some point
Yep.
during your travels, he stuffed some stuff in your pack, trying to be sneaky about it, but only being dwarf sneaky about it.
Well, and I would have noticed what he's doing, and I'm just gonna let him do it. Let him think that he's trying to be sneaky and getting it past me.
Mm.
Okay.
So I know it's there. I know it's from him. I know who it's for.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right.
So her passive perception is high. That
I'm
means
an elf.
there's not going to be a lot that gets past her passively. That's nice.
I'm an
It's
elf.
gonna be very nice.
I'm a childish elf,
So-
apparently.
Nice.
Yeah.
kidding.
You are definitely what they'd consider an adolescent for sure when it comes to that kind of stuff. You're an adult, but you're a young adult, basically. When it comes
I'll
to
be
elves.
21. I don't know.
Oh, there's a fair chance.
That's a really young adult for elves.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was just throwing out a number.
Yeah. So you during the next couple of days during the travel, you would you'd notice a little bit less and less traffic. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to begin with, but it basically kind of almost dies off.
What does?
The traffic.
Oh,
the
sorry.
lights, things like that. It just kind of.
As we get closer and
Yes.
closer to where the wand is taking us?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it would. Where is it? There it is. Yay. Sorry, was just grabbing something real quick.
Hey, Leandrin, I think we might want to look for like a county seat or some sort of larger township to see if we can get directions to see what's headed this way. What do you think?
Would I know?
What was it that you were trying to find? What, higher ground?
No,
Basically,
some sort of township or county seat or some place where they would have some sort of maps or knowledge of what's headed eastward. We're not looking for another. We're looking for some place that would have maps.
Right. Okay.
Would I
Or-
already know what's going on that way? And
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you know that there are towns and another kingdom, another human kingdom, the direction you're heading, but there are gaps just in wilderness and what have you, you know.
would I also potentially know that maybe this way, kind of like the last place I was just at that got slaughtered, if it might be pointing us in a direction of a town or the kingdom, maybe to destroy it like this one was?
Possibly. It would be, you do know that there is a handful of villages that all, you know, serve purposes. There's even a castle this direction for the Midland Kingdom. Out this direction, and of course they have castles for borders and things
Right.
like that as well. Generally stick a castle on a border. Your terrain would start to change to what's now right below that crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see the new thing on there or not.
I have it up. I do.
Yep.
So yeah, your terrain would change like this, and you would see with your passive perception, you can see on the horizon that there is an odd color that you normally wouldn't see like on a horizon pretty much anywhere, because the color itself is off. Hey, no, wait a minute. All right. Hold on just a minute. I'll be right with you.
Parenting. Sound like the kid ran into a wall or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's like, "Stop playing, Dad." He's just like, "I told you a few times that I'm playing with my friends."
Right.
So.
Okay.
Everything
Welcome.
okay?
Yeah, he smashed his fingers in the door. He's okay though.
It sounded like
no.
something hit the door.
Yeah.
Or a door
Well,
or a wall
it's
or
like it's like these like double doors, and he kind of closed them on his fingers. But he's okay.
that's good.
I'm glad it's okay.
So like I want to say roughly the grid on this is like 10 foot, or not 10 foot, but 5x5s.
Okay.
But this is the terrain that you've been encountering from what you saw above, and this is kind of switched or slowly transitioned during your travel over like a day and a half. You know, just regular travel. Like I said, in the distance though, you can see an odd red, and it's not covering the whole horizon or anything, but near the horizon is kind of a crimson red.
Right.
Well, just a crimson red, which would be weird.
So I unstrapped the.
Is it like a Lord of the Rings sort of thing where it's like blood was spilt this night?
No, this is literally like, it almost looks like a neon red out of game. You have no idea what neon is in game, but out of game it would have a neon.
It's not blood red.
No, it's very crimson, very much like the rod or the wand that Hammer has. It's identical to the crimson of that.
Hmm.
Or I should say it's more ruby. It's like a ruby crimson because the rod itself is made out of a solid piece of ruby.
Does Leandrin tell me anything about this, or do I notice it at all?
You guys haven't noticed it yet. Yeah, you'll start to the closer you get to it, but this is still fairly in the distance. Given she's got a background in navigation and her elven senses, she'd see this well before anybody else.
Probably I wouldn't say anything until I, like, depending on how far we are, I probably wouldn't say anything until I'm closer and to make sure it's not just my eyesight.
All right.
Just, you know, one of those better safe than sorry. Like, maybe it's just my eyes playing trick on me. Maybe it's the light because the sun is setting. I don't know.
Right. Let's see. Wait, what? But you're facing east, so you know it can't be the sun setting because you guys have been heading in an eastern direction. And my sun also sets in the west, so.
Okay, true, but.
So it was definitely an odd glow, and this is the middle of the day, so it can't be the sun because the sun's up in the sky.
Okay, then I would probably say something, just to have people or the party be cautious.
Okay.
And question. Would I have noticed maybe something similar to the other to Cheese Wheel? Like maybe, because that's where the amber one. Well, we found both of those in the same place, though. Was it? Sorry, gosh, was it kind of yellowish in tone?
Oh, it was golden, just like the wand was. And it definitely looked like sunlight, like basically amber sunlight. But that was coming from the sky and everything. This just looks like it's on the horizon. It doesn't seem like it's a giant cone of glowing or anything like you guys had with Cheese Wheel, but there is light in the distance. So it could be. As you guys would start to head or in that direction.
So Hammer points his wand towards the horizon and sees if there's any difference if he's pointing directly at this crimson light or not.
It'd be very slight, but yeah, it would light up more when you pointed at the crimson glow in the distance. Yeah.
Okay.
Traveling along for a little bit longer. Again, it'd be Leandrin if that passive perception is so high. You would notice that for kind of a marshy area, the closer you get, the quieter it's getting, even nature-wise. After maybe like another 30 minutes or so after noticing the red glow in the distance, as that starts to get slightly brighter as you get closer, it is now dead silent.
Can we still hear our own footsteps, the cart behind us?
Yeah. Okay. There's no weird muting or anything going on. Pretty much the only noise that you do hear is coming from you guys.
Okay. Does Hammer know that it's too quiet, or is he oblivious to the forest?
It would get.
I think he'd be oblivious. Okay, obvious. Okay.
Well, like even if you're not a perceptive person in real life, have you ever wandered in somewhere where there should be at least ambient noise and it's just dead silent?
Here, something's not right.
I just rolled a check for a nature check for myself, and I got a 19. So, yeah, he notices. It's quiet. It's a little bit too quiet, And he points the wand at a bush and tries to wheel it, like what Leandrin did back in the cave. Just willy-nilly. Does it have to be a specific target, or like
Oh, so you're just kind of messing around with the.
yeah.
He's trying to attune himself to with the wand, like I am with the amber one,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Go
or
ahead
see
and
if he
make another
can.
roll.
Say again?
That would just be basically like a use magic item or a straight roll.
Okay. He's gonna try wisdom, which is still 0, but 10 on the die. Probably not gonna attune to that.
No, it does. Let's see, what, 10 total?
Yeah.
It would kind of hum with some energy for a minute and then stop. So you're
Hmm.
not quite sure what you did.
Well, that
I'm
was
not seeing your
exciting.
roll.
What?
I'm not seeing your roll show up on here. Or are you
I'm
rolling
using
separately
D&D
now?
Beyond. I'm using D&D Beyond.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
cool.
He's
All
just
right, just
making up
making sure.
numbers to make it sound good. I'm just kidding.
Do I need to?
No, I'm just making sure I wasn't having a glitch happen on my side.
No.
Okay, so awesome. Well, yeah, with that, it would kind of hum with energy, but you still, I'm going to say you probably tried this a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming. Having it, or have you not really messed with it at all?
He's messed with it a few times, yeah.
It would make Bob nervous every time you pull that thing out because he's got most people's reaction to magic, especially after seeing what it did to his town.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have his normal kind of wince when you pull it out.
Not everybody that uses magic is evil.
Yeah,
Telling
I
that to
know
Bob,
that.
but
He's like, yeah, I know that. I just
I understand, but I'm just letting you know.
makes me nervous.
I understand.
Hammerfish is just like, great thing about magic users, from what I understand, is they've got to like shout a bunch of hooji first. They punch them in the mouth or the throat first before they can, and it should be fine. And Bob just kind of nods his head. And they share a drink because they're already kind of starting to day drink like they do.
Yeah. Hammer thinks it's normal.
Leandrin's just face palming it all. I'm like, okay.
You would see coming up one of these winding paths up over the hill, there is something. At first, at distance, it's propped up. It seems like almost like a scarecrow or something like that, which is odd, being as this is a marsh. They don't really need those. As you get closer, you don't have to roll for this. Upon your approach, it is a wooden setup like you would see a scarecrow on, but what is on this thing is not a scarecrow. It is, in fact, a, well, now marsh-ridden, rotting body. And this
That was
person
once
has-
alive.
Is that
Yep.
where it is, or where would you say it is?
It would be almost towards the end of this tile, or at the end of the whole visual of the map,
Right there?
near where it bends at the bottom again.
Oh, okay. So like down here ish.
Yeah. Yep, roughly around there. Right next to somewhat beset on the path, you'd see that. Now, normally this would be where the road sign is for the village or the town that's here, but it's been replaced by, well, this individual.
Well, I will take
Okay.
this as a sign. The next town is called Dead Body.
Oh man,
Are the hands like up like a scarecrow would be, or is there one, or is there two?
yeah,
Both?
the arms are up as well. This individual has definitely been tied to and nailed to as well. Yeah. Upon closer inspection, one of his arms, he has extra knuckles on the fingers and claws.
Like they've been added to him, or they were just his
No,
natural.
just that the
Okay.
arm is the one arm is different from the other. Yeah, and it looks well. Honestly, it looks kind of beastish, which is kind of weird.
Anything I recognize?
Um, Not really. It'd be odd. It'd be long, kind of oily fingernails or claws at this point from his fingernails, with the extra knuckles and an odd discoloration of the skin. Though the man is totally discolored at this point, the arm is still a separate kind of decayed color than the rest of him. What you can tell also without rolling is this guy has only been up here maybe a couple of days. He
Great.
should have more nature wear and tear on him, but it looks like animals haven't even
Don't
messed
dare touch him.
haven't messed with his body at all. I mean, it's still eerily quiet as well. So maybe the animals are just not around. Lemon would have her ears down for this portion of travel as well. She seems uneasy, not growling or anything, but she's very much kind of on alert and uncomfortable. You could tell.
Okay.
Even the goat seems a little perturbed.
The goats seem perturbed. We figured that one would be named Marcus and the other one would be named Link.
Okay. All right. So the goats are definitely nervous along with the dog.
I pet Lemon and just let her know I'm here. She's not alone.
She kind of whimper with somewhat of a comfort noise, but she's upset.
Still on guard.
Yeah.
I would assume so, but I'm just letting her know she's not. I'm here. I may not be Link, but
the red glow is now more predominant in the background as well. Like it's gotten much closer upon seeing or arriving to this. If you were to go down, it'd be another winding path, kind of identical to this tile they already have up. I'm not going to clone it. It just kind of.
we'll just pretend to go back up.
As this goes down, you'd see a couple more of these set up along the path.
The hanging bodies.
Yeah. And most of them look like these look like they have been burnt. That'd be something that's also a running theme, is that most of these from the legs up.
Same burn as the town that as Cheesewheel?
No, this literally looks like they were burned at the stake.
Oh.
To the point, or at least held. I don't know. I'm gonna have to have you. Anybody who wants to make a roll for this detail, they can.
Okay.
Either perception, or if you have anything in medicine or nature, or anything like that.
Deception? Is that what you said?
Medicine, nature, or just a straight investigation. Any of those three would work.
Okay. 15.
Okay.
I don't best the elf with passive perception, so
I rolled an 18.
Okay, so both of you with those rolls would be able to tell that this kind of burn doesn't happen with direct application of fire. These people were held right up to where the heat of the fire did this business, but not the flames themselves, which
So-
was a medieval way of getting rid of somebody horribly without actually burning them at the stake. You'd have a bonfire, you'd have this horrible little rack set up, tie said individual to it, and hoist them right above the fire.
Mhm.
It still does the same thing, but you don't have to worry about fire spreading, and you still kind of have a body left over when you're done. But this looks like this is the fate of the handful of bodies that you see.
Okay.
So these people were executed.
I try to do a little bit more investigation, and I try to not without getting Bob involved. I try to get Leandrin to see if her wand does anything with the bodies, and I kind of poke and prod the bodies with the ruby rod, not knowing what I'm doing.
Okay. There are 4 of them besides the initial one, so there was 5 of these victims total that line this road. Or I should say more of a path at this point, but it's as best a road as can go through a marsh for now.
Right.
So-
Can I detect anything? Do I have a detect magic, so to speak? Did you say or what was that
sometimes
thing?
you're aware whenever it's illusionary or like
Illusionary, that's what it is. Sorry.
sleep-based magics you can kind of detect and feel because you have a natural immunity to them.
Right, that's what it was. Sorry. I couldn't remember what it was.
This doesn't seem to give off anything like that. And with your poking and prodding, Hammer, no, none of the rods seem to react to the bodies at all. You're just kind of poking dead meat with them.
Okay.
I'll pull out the amber wand to see if there's any immediate reaction. I won't poke or anything, but
It doesn't seem like it. It does give off a faint glow within proximity of the ruby wand. Whenever they're close to each other, they give off a natural glow to one another. Or their
I'll ask
Piss.
Hammer to take a step back
Okay.
to see if there's anything that may happen because they were so close. I don't know.
No, just the usual dim
Okay.
in light between the two wands when you guys take step. So this would be something you would have noticed during your
Right.
two-week travel, is they light up
When they're
not
close.
fully bright, but when they're within proximity, they glow, and then it fades the further away from each other they are.
Okay. Just curious. Just
So-
checking.
Oh, speaking of which, though, the rune on the ruby wand is a lot brighter. Like, very much like the amber wand back in Cheese Wheel.
We're getting close, I believe.
You can hear some noise now, but it's literally coming from one direction, and that's further down this road to the marsh, or I mean to the town. So it sounds like there was activity in the town. And I'm gonna slide you guys over to
Oh, hey.
and so, yeah, you guys would, I'm assuming, just continue down the path to.
Right. I cautiously,
Oh, yeah.
because
And-
especially with the dead bodies hanging about. We didn't see
Oh.
that over by Cheese Wheel. right? When we left that town, there was nothing like
Yeah,
that.
you haven't seen. Yeah, really, for the most part, you haven't seen anything this horrific at all since the events of Cheese Wheel.
Okay.
It's just been normal pastoral roads and farmland until you hit the marshes, and even then, it was just regular marsh until
Until we hit this area.
until you hit this kind of spot. Somewhat of the commotion that you hear is some of the town, what you'd hear in like town functions, you know, like regular,
Oh. Festivities.
not festivities, but more just regular work and stuff, like regular town noises. It's just more predominant because for the all intents and purposes, appears to be no other noise at all. So so their noise is kind of amplified. Boop. There we go. Town.
I hand a gold coin to Bob and say, "Hey, go grab us a keg from the local bar and see if they're friendly towards our folk."
Okay, so you guys wait outside of town and kind of send him in almost as like a test.
Poor Bob.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we do.
I'm just curious. Oh, also upon your arrival, you can see what's now causing this red glow on the other side of town, not directly bordering it, but on the other side of this town, you would see, well, it's odd. It's the marsh beyond it is dead. But
How is it making a glow?
the glow is coming from.
Is that a Zelda thing?
Huh?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
I see the map that you put on there, and like as small as it. Okay. As small as it was, it reminded me of like top-down Zelda. I'm like, Zelda?
Oh, I see what you mean. I was like,
I'm like,
I was trying to think.
did
of what
you
were talking about. I was
literally
like,
pull something from Zelda?
No.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so here you are at Lily Pad Landing, is what this place is called. Most people just call it Lily Pad.
Mm-hmm.
But there it is. Okay, so the grid on this is a lot harder to see, but I'm going to say each of the grids in this are about 15.
Okay.
Ignore the cursive labeling of the buildings. I had some notes on here, but changed them. So don't worry about the writing on the buildings. That's not important. But boom, there you go. This is the town that you can see, I guess, from the distance. Again, top is north, east, and west. So where you guys are actually coming from is to the left.